Hey beautiful family, welcome back to another video with your girl. So welcome back. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend this weekend. The first part of this video is not going to be pleasantly easy for me to talk about, but I am going to talk about it, being that my middle daughter has already made a video on her channel. If you have not watched that video, well, actually I think she was live, but it's a video on her channel speaking about her being attacked by Minx's dog during Toots's 1-year birthday party over the weekend. It was a very emotional situation, very scary situation. I watched her video and I was already in pieces when the actual event, the day of, and then I watched her video and it literally broke me down to nothing as a mom. But I'll tell you guys how the universe works sometimes. When you ask why or how or, you know, those questions, like, it's funny because if I had left my house at the time that I had intended on leaving my house to go to Toots's party, I would have actually been there during the attack. And as a mom, seeing that, I would have probably, well, not even probably, I know I would have lost my mind. And I would have traumatized all those poor little kids at that party, because I would have mutilated that dog out of anger and rage, right? I came literally probably within seconds of her leaving to go to the hospital. So as I walked into the party, not even, you know, expecting nothing but a bunch of little kids in costumes and excited to see Toots doing the most, to everybody looking at me and immediately was like, the dog just attacked Red and bit her in the face. I just heard bit in the face and Red, and I lost it at that point. I had no idea what hospital she had went to. I had no idea how bad her injuries were. I knew nothing. So I spazzed out. Probably scared the bully kids to death, I'm sure. Definitely scared Minx them to death. And my initial emotion was, I want the dog dead. I want him dead. So I want that dog dead. Eventually, I did get to find, well, she contacted me and I found where she was. So I went straight to the emergency room. And, you know, due to COVID, you can only have one person, whatever. So they allowed me to come back with her to be treated. And the doctor brought in some paperwork saying that we had to fill it out so that it could be faxed to the animal control people and all that stuff or whatever. So I filled out the paperwork and they treat her. They didn't want to, you know, close her wounds up, because, and they said even with human bites, dog bites or whatever, they found that closing up the area sometimes can cause the infection or cause an infection to take place underneath the closed skin or whatever. So they treated her, cleaned her up, stereo stripped it so that air could still get to it and anything in it could come out. She had a recent tetanus shot, so she didn't have to get a tetanus shot. And they didn't think that the dog had rabies, which she will be tested for rabies today. Being that the animal control place was actually closed because it was the weekend, the call was automatically sent to the sheriff's department. So I was actually speaking with the sheriff to give the statement of what had happened. Okay? And so we do that or whatever, and give out all the information. And then Red went back home to her house, and also too had her boyfriend and her been in the same vehicle, because they was driving two separate vehicles because they were bringing his nephew to the party. So they were in two separate vehicles, but had they been in the same vehicle together, it still would have been a bad situation. The kid still would have been traumatized because he would have laid that dog down for sure. Okay. But they were in two separate vehicles. So I ended up running into him in the parking lot at the hospital. So I was tore up. I couldn't even go enjoy the party at Tootsie's party. I couldn't go back. I just kept thinking about Red's face and how hurt and in shock she was, and it was just really nothing I could do to soothe my child, you know. So I get home to just woosah myself down, and the sheriff called me on the phone and wanted, me to verbally give the statement over the phone and make sure all the information that was on the paperwork was correct and all that or whatever. And he asked me, he said, in normal circumstances, in a case like this, what they normally do is they take the animal from the premises and they quarantine them for 10 to 14 days under observation for aggression, to see if they can be rehabbed, readopted, or replaced back into the home. And initially, when he said that to me, what would you like to have done? I said, I want the dog to sleep. That was my initial response. And I even told the officer, I said, I'm going to be honest with you. It's like I just told y'all, I was seconds from literally being there when this happened. And I told him, I said it would have been under different circumstances because I would have killed that dog. And he said to me, I'm glad that your daughter is okay. And I'm glad it didn't happen that way because you, by all means, and you would have been within every right to protect your child. Every right. He said, but the way the law works, though, in the way that you would have taken that dog's life would have been inhumane. So I would have got a charge, which I would have been totally fine with. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'd have been fine with catching that, whatever charge that was. Animal abuse or whatever the case was, because I was that enraged, okay? So the officer was like, I understand your emotion. I understand, how you feel. And again, I'm glad that it didn't happen the way, that it did. And I was very adamant about the dog being taken out of Mix's house that day because my 4 grandbabies are still there. And prior to this, the dog had not showed that type of aggression. So I don't know what happened for that dog to attack Red in the way that it did. I'm baffled by that, and I think that is what she can't get past that as well. However, about 3 weeks ago, I had a really bad feeling about the dog. About 3 weeks ago. I knew Mix and them loved the dog. The kids loved the dog. I watched the dog interact with my grandchildren. I was never comfortable with the fact that that dog was there, even though it hadn't displayed any type of aggression in that manner. Okay, I knew that dog had belonged to a family. That's what I knew. So how it ended up with Minx just randomly, I feel like someone dropped that dog off in their neighborhood and kept it pushing for whatever reason. All right. The officer also told me that that during today's the next day, actually, the dog would be tested for rabies under observation or whatever. It'll start its quarantine, but it's also going to be checked for a chip. He said, but you know as well as I know, if that dog had a chip in him, the person who owned the dog would have easily been able to locate their dog. So if it's chipped, they didn't want that dog, okay, for whatever reason. But when a dog is chipped, they are to return the dog to that home, wherever that dog's chip leads them back to. But if it had a chip, clearly they didn't want the dog, okay? Which is how it ended up at Minx's house and them taking the dog in. I've watched that dog every visit that I've been there, how he interacts with my grandchildren, right? And again, it never displayed any type of aggression, but because Minx has no clue as to what type of home that dog came from and knew nothing about the dog, was very unsettling for me as a grandparent. So about 3 weeks ago, I felt like something bad was going to happen with one of my grandchildren and that dog. Minx doesn't want to face that. Like, in her mind, Bella wouldn't have done anything to the kids because the kids pretty much done whatever they wanted to that dog and it done nothing. Which is also why I feel like the dog came from a family with children. I feel like it was around kids prior to coming there, because it was a very lax type of dog. When the children would be doing stuff to it, it would try to get out of their way, just like, Toots would sit on the dog, Menzie, it would just get out of the way. But 3 weeks ago, I noticed that he was doing more. Minx, in my opinion, didn't have control over that dog. Those are a very strong breed of dogs, and they need a lot of discipline, and they need alpha owners that can control those dogs, right? They just do. It's a very strong breed. And I noticed that when I would come over, knock on the door, she would bark to acknowledge somebody's knocking at the door. But she would rush out the door, come out the door and barking at you, sniff you, then she, Minx would have to. A good trained dog, if you're not posing a threat or the owner hasn't implied that this dog needs to attack a person, then that dog should sit there until its owner commands it to do otherwise. You should never go to anybody. Now, I'm not a dog trainer person. Y'all know that, okay? But I do know this from watching the damn Dog Whisperer, okay? A dog should not address a person in an aggressive manner that is not posing a threat to it or the owner. That dog should never have been allowed ever to rush out of the house beyond the owner, Minx or Quan, to growl and bark or whatever at the person until she decides, okay, I know this person, all right, they can come in. That should never have happened. That is what Bella was doing, though. Minx and them not dog trainers, they just dog lovers, okay? I saw that as a problem, right? You should have full control over your animal as an owner of an animal. And I just felt 3 weeks ago something bad was going to happen. And I told Red this morning after I watched the video, and I called her, because she is stuck on the why, my energy, why me. And I told her, I said, I honestly and truly believe, as unfortunate as it was, I feel like that attack, partial attack on her, saved one of my grandchildren. Minx hates to hear that. She hates to hear that. She does not want to even think that Bella would have done anything to her children. Nobody would have thought Bella would have done what she done to Red either. Right? 3 weeks ago, I had this feeling. And I had even told Minx, I said, Minx, I would hate for you to catch a charge behind a dog that you've taken in as your own. Okay? If that dog was to bite someone or put someone's life in danger, a child, chase a child, whatever, break loose from you when you're taking her out to use the bathroom. God forbid something like that happens and you catch a charge behind a dog that's not even yours, really. Red still feels that, and the officer asked her as well, she wants the dog put down because she feels like the next person that dog tried it on may not be so lucky, you know, in the way in which he continued to try and get at her even after Minx tried to put herself in between Red and the dog. The dog continued to try and get at her. So, that was yesterday. So I didn't really get to enjoy the party at all. From what I saw of it, it was beautiful though. It was absolutely beautiful. The kids had fun, and I was also, Minx was worried about the animal control people coming into her home with the sheriff and snatching Bella out in front of the kids. So the officer was nice enough to let her harness Bella up and walk her out the house so that the children wouldn't think anything. Even though King is old enough and knew that the dog had bit his TT. So whenever they sat King down to ask him to express how he felt about what had happened, he said, well, you know, Bella's never bit us, but she did bite my Aunt TT. So that's why she has to leave. Smart little boy. I'm so glad that I'm able to tell the story this way and not a whole other way, because that's where my mind was yesterday and this morning. I couldn't sleep last night. I just kept thinking about it, thinking about, of course, the what ifs and just how the universe works. Like, I would have totally traumatized every child in that party. Would have been probably mentally messed up due to me snapping and violently killing Bella in front of them. I wouldn't have had any control. I didn't have control by them just telling me that she had gotten bitten in the face. And I didn't know anything past that and didn't have control. Like, literally lost my damn mind. Lost my mind. So I'm glad it happened in the way that it did so that the story could be told the way that it is. And she was very emotional. I don't like to see my kids hurt or in pain. I don't like the fact that it breaks my heart that Minx is very hurt that the dog did that to her sister. At the same time, she still loved her dog. It was her dog to her. She still loved her dog. The dog had to be removed. The kids loved the dog, you know. It's just a sad situation all the way around, but it had to be done. They even asked her if if Bella passed the test after being quarantined and showed no more aggression and whatever, would she like the dog back? And she knew she could not bring Bella back in that house at this point. She just, there was no way. So of course Meek said no, you know, she can't come back, even if she is rehabable. No, she can't come back. Oh my God. I'm so speed right now. Okay, anyway. Send good vibes to Red. Check out our video. It's emotional. I'm just gonna tell you, it's just, I just don't like to see my kids in pain. I don't like to see my children hurt on either end. No spectrum. Just as a parent, it's just a hard pill to swallow. Super hard pill to swallow. And moving on to something a lot more not so sad, right? I just left IKEA again. And this time I did measure some stuff, and I'm trying to come up with my own configuration that will work for me. And I took my tape measure and measured it out down there, so I drove all the way down to IKEA for nothing, literally for nothing. But I had to see. So now my next move is just, which should have been my first move, really. I was just being lazy because I don't feel like doing anything. So I'm going to go to Home Depot or either Lowe's, whichever one, doesn't matter. And I'm going to have the piece cut to the right size that I need. That way I don't have to worry about, you know, I wouldn't have had to worry about buying that piece. Good thing I measured. And I know for a fact the police is down here because I seen them park about 5 feet when I was coming. So let me just get right over here and drive like Miss Daisy. Because I like a clean record. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing today. I'm still office putting together. Literally like a puzzle. This room, y'all, it's a puzzle. It's coming together very, very slowly. And it has to, because I have to make it fit like a puzzle. Literally, to work for how I need it to work for me. Storage-wise. And if my visual plan works, then I'll be good to go. So that's what I'm working on today. So I just took a trip, which I needed that drive anyway, down to IKEA to get my mind right and focus and just get those thoughts out of my system, you know, those mama bear thoughts. So I didn't need to drive, but so right now I'm headed to I told you it's 5 deep. They're still sitting right here. I knew they were. Ooh, look at my speed all the way down. They were sitting there when I was coming on the opposite side. I don't know what they say. What time of the month do they be out so deep like that, or do they be looking for something very specific? I wonder. There was 4 of them. 4 lined up in a row. Only on this side though. They could be on that side catching those people, but they're on this side for some reason. I'm glad I remember that. Anywho, I'm on my way to either, but they're right across the street from each other, Lowe's and Home Depot. So I'm gonna go there because I have my. You guys will be so proud. You'd be so proud of me. I have my measurements here of exactly what I need. Okay. But I need to go to Target first. Okay, I need to go to Target first. And hopefully Target has in stock what I need. I do know the one on the other side of town said that they had them in stock, but I'm going to try this one first. And then, if not, there's another one. There's another freaking sheriff. I think they're trying to catch somebody. When they be like this, lined up on the same side, somebody's tipped them off. And they're looking or waiting for something or someone. They ain't just trying to write a ticket. Not during COVID. It ain't even that serious, for real. I feel like they looking for somebody. Anywho, look at me like I'm part of the sheriff's department, okay? Everybody, their mama got the brakes on. Ain't nobody trying to get no ticket, bro. Nobody wants that ticket, okay? So that's what I'm about to do now. I'm going to Target. Then I'm going to go to either one of those places. Y'all, this is closet situation, honey, okay? This closet situation. I'm going to make the closet stuff separate from this video. I just wanted to go ahead and make this video in case you guys have watched her video and, you know, wanted to hear what the mama had to say, you know. I don't know if Minx will make a video or not, and if she doesn't, I totally understand. You know, I get it. I totally get it. I just want to share that with you guys because I do know a lot of you do watch their channels as well, and I appreciate that. So just send my baby positive vibes and send Bella positive vibes because I don't know, you know, what the end result will be with that. I just have a feeling I don't know. Anyway, I'll include the remainder of the office stuff in the separate video. I've already began the other stuff. You'll see it in that video. I don't want to spoil it or whatever. So just be on the lookout for that. I've talked to you guys long enough. Hopefully this video wasn't too sad. Because I don't like making sad videos. But it's real life. I share my life. It's part of my life. That was a great part of my life. I'm choking to death. I literally feel like I have a fur ball in my throat. Truck stop coffee, by the way. Look, I felt so good walking into that truck stop. Felt like I belonged there. But not today. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel.